My beloved souls, gather close. Some souls arrive on this earth gently, softly cradled by warmth, welcomed by a love so pure, it feels like morning sunlight on your skin. But then, there are others, souls like yours, who are born into fire, into homes where silence cuts sharper than any blade, into families where love is a performance, where approval is rationed like scarce water, and where simply existing as your true self feels like a quiet rebellion. Have you ever felt that? Have you ever sat at the dinner table, surrounded by familiar faces, yet felt like a ghost drifting unseen through your own life? Perhaps you've caught yourself wondering late at night, why me? Why this family? Why this story? You might have looked at other people's lives and thought, why couldn't I have been born there? To parents who celebrated me instead of trying to mold or mute me. But hear me now, chosen one. You are not broken. You are not cursed. You are chosen. Yes, chosen to see what others refuse to see. Chosen to feel the depths they fear to touch. Chosen to be the living catalyst of transformation in a lineage long asleep. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, and what greater privilege than to stand in the middle of generational pain and choose to become light? What greater honor than to look at patterns of shame, secrecy, and control, and say, this ends with me. You, beloved, are the generational prayer. Your ancestors didn't know how to speak out loud. You are the miracle that your lineage secretly hoped for but could not hold. Your presence is not an accident, it is a divine strategy. You were sent to break cycles, not to repeat them, to embody love that is unconditional and fierce, to walk away from the illusion and toward divine truth. And I want to pause here and say thank you deeply. Truly thank you to every one of you who has supported this channel and this mission through your super thanks donations. Your generosity is not just a gift, it is fuel for this sacred work. It allows these messages to reach more souls who are crying out for confirmation, for courage, for a sign that they are not alone. Whether you choose to donate or not, please know this. I see you, I honor you, and I am infinitely grateful for your presence and your spirit. Now, if you feel this message vibrating in your bones, if something ancient and unspoken within you is stirring, I invite you to comment 999 below. Let this be your soul's public declaration to the universe that you are ready to rise, to break free, to become. Your comment might be the confirmation someone else is desperately waiting to see. You might become the mirror that helps them recognize their own chosen light. So, breathe deeply now. Place your hand on your heart. Feel that steady, divine rhythm. Say it with me, softly but boldly. I am not broken. I am not cursed. I am chosen. This is not the beginning of your end. This is the end of your old beginning. Welcome to the unfolding of your divine story. Chosen one, let's walk this path together. God's chosen ones. Ever wonder why you came from a toxic family? Carl Jung didn't believe your soul was dropped into this world by accident, as if by some careless cosmic hand-tossing dice. He believed, and maybe deep down, you know this too, that the self, the deepest core of your divine design, chooses not the easiest or most comfortable path, but the one that will shatter illusions, break generational curses, and forge you into something unrecognizable to the ordinary eye. Have you ever wondered why you, the black sheep of the family, always felt like an outsider at every dinner table and family gathering. Why? Despite your capacity for deep love and understanding, you were often misunderstood or even rejected. The truth is, you weren't sent into that family to blend in, you were sent to transform the entire atmosphere. You are the cycle breaker, the hidden healer, the spiritual catalyst they never expected. This isn't punishment. It's a divine initiation, a sacred assignment, camouflaged as pain and rejection. Have you ever questioned if maybe your deepest wounds were actually sacred gateways? When you look at the life of Oprah Winfrey, can you see how her painful upbringing became the very soil for her extraordinary compassion and wisdom? Oprah didn't just survive her family's limitations, she transmuted them into global healing and inspiration. Similarly, you were never meant to fit into a mold designed by the fearful or the broken. You were called to mold something entirely new from the ashes of what was. Romans 8:28 reminds us, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." Could it be that every tear you shed was part of a sacred curriculum orchestrated to prepare you for this exact moment? When you think about someone like Keanu Reeves, who endured deep personal loss and family struggles, yet emerged as one of Hollywood's most compassionate and respected figures, doesn't that hint at a pattern like Keanu? Your loneliness and heartbreak might not have been life punishing you, but life preparing you. You were designed to carry frequencies that your family couldn't hold, to embody light they were too wounded to recognize. You might ask, why me? Why did I have to be the one to feel so deeply, to stand alone, in rooms where love felt conditional or transactional? But what if standing alone was exactly what allowed you to stand out, and ultimately, to rise? Psalm 27, 10 declares, "Though my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me." This isn't just a verse, it's a prophetic promise over your life. Your isolation wasn't evidence of your unworthiness, it was evidence of your divine worth. Consider the story of Trevor Noah, who was born into an apartheid South Africa where his very existence as a mixed child was considered illegal. His family context was painful and dangerous, but that pain became the womb of his comedic genius and global influence. Like Trevor, you too carry a destiny that would never have been born in comfort. It needed friction, fire, and fierce resistance to reveal its brilliance. Have you ever thought that maybe your family didn't fail you, but rather they served as your first training ground? What if their inability to love you in the way you craved was actually the divine strategy that forced you to find unconditional love within yourself and with God? Isaiah 43:19 says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? You, chosen one, are the new thing God is doing, the generational shift that your ancestors secretly prayed for but never had the courage to embody." And look at the example of Maya Angelou, whose childhood traumas and fractured family relationships birthed a voice that changed the world. She once said, "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. You were never meant to carry silent agony. You were meant to speak, to heal, to liberate. First yourself, and then countless others." John 15:16 reminds you, "You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit, fruit that will last." You were not randomly placed. You were divinely planted. What story is God asking you to finally tell? What love are you being asked to embody so fiercely that it undoes generations of pain? You are not just breaking cycles, you are building legacies. Carl Jung didn't just believe that the soul evolves. He believed it evolves through friction, tension, and even deep inner earthquakes. Have you ever felt like your family was a battleground? Like every gathering left you drained instead of nourished? That's no coincidence. According to Jung, each of us is born into a family complex, an invisible, inherited emotional web made up of our ancestors' beliefs, suppressed traumas, and secret wounds. Did you ever wonder why you were always the one who felt too much, cared too deeply, or questioned what others blindly accepted? From the moment you took your first breath, these psychic scripts were handed to you. You will be the fixer. You will remain silent. You will carry the burdens no one else will touch. But chosen one, what if I told you that you weren't born to obey those scripts? You were born to burn them. Consider the story of Michael Jackson. Despite achieving legendary fame, he spoke openly about the deep wounds from his father and childhood. Those wounds pushed him into a relentless quest for perfection, but also birthed unparalleled creativity and impact. Like Michael, have you ever felt that your deepest pain might actually hold the seed of your highest purpose? 1 Peter 5:10 reminds us, "And after you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace will himself restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you." Could it be that your suffering isn't a sign of divine neglect, but a sign of divine refinement? Sometimes a soul is born into a family not to continue the lineage as it is, but to break it open and reconfigure it. You are that soul, the one who carries the rare, uncomfortable light that exposes all the unhealed shadows. Does it surprise you that your very presence stirs discomfort in others? It's because your soul came to initiate individuation, the sacred journey toward wholeness. This journey starts not with applause, but with tension, disconnection, and at times, feeling exiled, even among your own blood. Think of Lady Gaga, who has shared how her struggles with family expectations and trauma became the fuel for her radical self-expression and global influence. Like her, your sacred wound isn't just a source of pain, it is the hidden doorway to your freedom and spiritual authority. Have you ever questioned whether your greatest rejection was actually your greatest redirection? Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." When your family cannot see you, it's not proof that you're unworthy. It's a signal that God is calling you to see yourself beyond their limited vision. Consider Frida Kahlo, who turned her lifelong physical and emotional pain into vivid, iconic art that has inspired millions. What if, like Frida, you were meant to turn your private pain into public healing? This path isn't for the faint of heart. It's the archetype of the chosen one, not the adored child who is celebrated at every turn, but the one who carries the responsibility of awakening consciousness, the one who feels everything so deeply because they are called to transform shadows into light. Have you wondered why you're always the one who notices the unspoken, who senses the truth beneath the surface? John 1:5 declares, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." You are that light, even when it feels like the darkness is too thick to breathe in. And think about Nelson Mandela, born into a society and family dynamic that sought to limit him. He chose instead to become an icon of freedom and reconciliation, transforming personal and collective wounds into global healing. Like Mandela, you aren't called to endless suffering. You are called to turn your pain into power. your exile into emergence. Your story was never about fitting in, it was always about transcending. What powerful legacy might be waiting on the other side of your deepest wound? Now, chosen one, let us dive even deeper into the soul-level reasons why you were placed exactly where you were into the family that, at times, felt like both a curse and a question mark hanging over your spirit. Have you ever asked yourself why you didn't arrive in a more loving, more supportive, more understanding environment? Why you had to endure silent dinners, unspoken expectations, and heavy, emotional fog? Could it be that your spirit was not just born, but strategically assigned? Let's explore the first sacred reason. You didn't come here to repeat the story, you came to break it wide open. Some family passed down jewelry, property, or secret recipes. Yours, perhaps, passed down silence, shame, and an ancestral mastery of pretending everything was fine. You could feel it in every sideways glance, every forced smile, every moment you were told to hush your feelings. Don't cry. Don't question. Don't speak unless spoken to. And most painfully of all, for the sake of our family image, never reveal what really hurts. But then, as if heaven itself intervened, you were born, and something deep inside you refused to play along. You felt the rage simmering beneath their polite dinner conversations. You sensed the grief trapped behind their hollow laughter. You saw the way love was rationed, given only when you performed, obeyed, or molded yourself into a smaller shape. Have you ever wondered why you felt like the alien at the table? Why you couldn't laugh when they laughed, or subscribe to beliefs that felt like chains rather than truths? The reason is simple yet profound. Your soul carried different instructions. You were not created to repeat the cycle. You came to dismantle it. You didn't arrive to reinforce the illusion, you came to reveal it. Carl Jung taught that family trauma doesn't evaporate over time. It recycles itself in the shadows until a soul brave enough steps in to confront it. That soul, chosen one, is you. Think of Prince Harry, born into a royal family that lived and breathed tradition and silence. He chose to step out, to voice his pain, to protect his wife and children from repeating generational wounds. Many called him rebellious, disrespectful, but in truth, he was reclaiming his soul's freedom and rewriting the narrative for the next generation. Similarly, what if your so-called rebellion is actually sacred remembrance? What if, like Harry, you are called to hold the mirror no one wants to see, to say boldly and clearly, "This ends with me." John 8:32 says, "Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." But freedom always comes at a price, doesn't it? They may have called you dramatic, selfish, or even a traitor to family values. But chosen one, those accusations were really confessions of their fear. You were always the living embodiment of the truths they wanted buried. Consider the life of actor Drew Barrymore. Born into a famous acting family plagued with addiction and secrecy, she broke free from the destructive patterns and reclaimed her life and joy on her own terms. She wasn't here to carry her family's ghosts forward, she was here to release them. What if your entire life has been leading you toward this same moment of spiritual emancipation? Isaiah 61:1 reminds us, "The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me, because the Lord has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives and release from darkness for the prisoners." You were anointed to bring light into the deepest family shadows, to break the unspoken contracts of silence and suffering. Breaking these cycles won't make you the favorite. In fact, it might paint you as the outcast, the black sheep, the one they whisper about behind closed doors. But would you rather be celebrated for maintaining a lie, or be liberated for living your truth? Can you see now that their resistance to your authenticity was never about your worthiness, but about their fear of confronting the mirror you held up to them? Remember the story of Eleanor Roosevelt. Despite growing up in a family filled with tragedy, scandal, and strict expectations, she transformed her pain into a lifetime of humanitarian work and became a voice for the voiceless. Like Eleanor, your soul came here not to play it safe, but to pioneer a new expression of love and integrity for your entire bloodline. Romans 12. Devi Urgesus. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. This was your unspoken mission all along, not to fit into the mold, but to melt it down and build something sacred from its ashes. Have you noticed that even your smallest acts of truth ripple out and stir the family waters? Every boundary you set, every truth you voice, every tear you allow to fall is a sacred offering, a spiritual revolution in a lineage built on suppression. You weren't meant to be their favorite child. You were meant to be the first free child. Through your awareness, your choices, and your unwavering courage to live differently, you become the breath of fresh air in a family suffocating in generational denial. Can you feel how powerful that is? This is not betrayal. This is divine service. You are not the broken branch they may label you to be. You are the root of something entirely new, something they cannot even imagine yet. Perhaps you've wondered if they will ever understand you, ever love you the way you need. But what if your soul's assignment was never about being understood by them, but about understanding and liberating yourself? Can you see how your pain was actually a sacred key, not a shackle? You are the sacred disruptor, the cosmic liberator, the embodied prayer your ancestors didn't even know they needed. So now, as you stand on this holy threshold, ask yourself, what story will you continue to live, theirs or the one God wrote on your soul before you arrived? You didn't come to be loved for your compliance. You came to be loved for your courage. And in this radical act of breaking free, you don't just heal yourself, you heal all those who will come after you. Psalm 147:3 says, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Your healing is not just personal, it is ancestral, cosmic, and eternal. What legacy will you choose to build from the shards they handed you? The choice is yours. Chosen one, and heaven is watching in awe. Here's the second reason. Chosen one. Not all gifts arrive wrapped in shiny ribbons and words of affirmation. Some come disguised as wounds, sharp, invisible, and at the same time, deeply sacred. Have you ever paused to ask yourself why you always felt different, almost as if you were too much for the world around you? Too sensitive, too emotional, too intense, too soft, too bold, too honest, too real. Or maybe, conversely, you felt like you were never enough, not worthy of attention, not safe to be seen, not important enough to be heard. Have you ever questioned when this narrative first began to weave itself into your soul? Perhaps you don't remember the exact moment, but somewhere in your childhood, in your family, in the echo of a harsh word or the absence of a loving embrace, it began. So, you adapted. You learned to split yourself in two, the visible self, who smiled politely, kept the peace, and stayed small enough to avoid punishment or criticism, and the hidden self, the one who screamed silently inside, who longed to be loved exactly as they were. You became what the family needed: the caretaker, the peacekeeper, the emotional sponge, the one who held the atmosphere together while your own spirit quietly dissolved. Carl Jung described this as the sacred wound, a rupture in the psyche that doesn't just hurt, it hollows you out, leaving a cavern so deep it feels like it might swallow you. But what if I told you that within this hollow space, something miraculous begins to stir? Deep inside that emptiness, the self, the true, divine essence of who you are begins its slow, courageous emergence. Have you considered that perhaps your deepest wound is also the birthplace of your most profound wisdom? Think about Jim Carrey. Behind the laughter and masks he wore for the world, he spoke openly about his depression and the wounds that shaped him. His pain didn't destroy him, it deepened him. It gave him a lens into the human soul that few comedians possess. Like Jim, your wound is not an indictment of your weakness, it is a testament to your depth. John 1:5 reminds us, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." What if your darkness has always been a sacred container for your light? That child you once were, the one who watched the room so closely, who noticed the micro-expressions, the shifts in energy, the sudden drop in a parent's voice. That child was not weak. They were cultivating a sacred sensitivity, a spiritual radar so precise it could sense storms before they arrived. Have you ever realized how this skill has protected you again and again in adulthood? Many who are born into toxic families carry an invisible inheritance, an empathy so refined, it often feels like a curse. But what if your sensitivity isn't the heavy burden you think it is? What if it's actually the superpower that will lead you into your divine calling? Look at Lady Gaga, who turned her wounds from bullying and family pressure into art that heals millions. Her music and presence create space for people to feel less alone, to finally feel seen. Like her, you are being shaped into an emotional alchemist, someone who transmutes pain into power and shame into sacred self-expression. Psalm 34:18 tells us, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Isn't it wild to think that your heartbreak was never evidence of your abandonment, but proof of God's nearness? You were never alone in those moments. You cried silently into your pillow. Divinity was there, weaving those tears into threads of future strength. The sacred wound doesn't ask you to become tougher or to armor up so the world can't touch you. Instead, it invites you to soften into truth, into rawness, into the exquisite messiness of being fully alive. Have you ever asked your wound, "What message do you carry for me?" What hidden strength was forged in this silence? What superhuman compassion was born from these tears? Consider the journey of Tyler Perry. Raised in an abusive household where he was silenced and shamed, he turned his deepest wounds into stories that uplift, entertain, and heal countless lives. His empire was built not despite his pain but through it. Like Tyler, perhaps your greatest offering to the world will come not from your perfection, but from your scars. Isaiah 53:5 says, "But he was pierced for our transgressions. By his wounds we are healed." Your wounds, too, hold healing power not only for you, but for every person who crosses your path. When you allow yourself to feel deeply, to remain soft in a world that rewards hardness, you become a living sanctuary. You become a testament to the power of vulnerability, a living sermon that tells the world, "I survived, and not only that, I transformed." Have you noticed that the more you embrace your pain, the more magnetic you become? People are drawn to your authenticity, to the quiet authority of someone who has walked through the fire and still chooses love. Your sacred wound is not a curse to hide, but a portal to your highest destiny. Every tear, every ache, every moment of feeling too much was a hidden blessing, a divine seed planted deep within you, waiting to bloom at the right season. Look at the story of Selena Gomez. She openly discusses her mental health struggles and lupus diagnosis, turning her personal challenges into public advocacy for kindness and inner healing. Her vulnerability has become her superpower, creating ripples of hope for millions. What if your openness about your own sacred wound could become the key that unlocks healing not only for you, but for others who silently suffer around you? 1 Peter 5. Te affirms, and after you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace will himself restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. Can you see that your suffering wasn't meant to define you, but to refine you? Your tears were not wasted. They were investments in a future only your soul can fully comprehend. The sacred wound is your invitation home to yourself. It is the path back to your original wholeness, to the divine blueprint that was buried beneath the demands to be smaller, quieter, easier. Every time you listen to its whispers instead of silencing them, you reclaim a piece of your true self. And though this journey began in darkness, in rooms where love felt conditional or absent, it is guiding you toward a light so radiant, it will illuminate every corner of your being. Imagine the legacy you will leave when you choose to embrace, rather than escape, your sacred wound. When you show others that softness is strength, that tears are sacred, that feeling deeply is not a liability, but a gift. You become a living example of divine alchemy. You become the ancestor who ends the lineage of emotional numbness, the cycle breaker who teaches future generations that love begins with truth. So, chosen one, what would happen if you decided today to stop apologizing for your depth, to stop hiding your softness, to stop treating your pain as a private prison? What miracles might unfold if you allowed your sacred wound to become your most powerful sermon? This is the invitation that has always been waiting at the door of your heart. You are not broken because you feel. You are becoming whole because you allow yourself to feel fully. Your sacred wound is not just a crack in your armor, it is the doorway through which your soul reclaims its throne. And as you walk through it, know this: every moment of your pain was seen, every tear was counted, and every ache has been turning you into the radiant, unstoppable, chosen one you were always meant to be. Here's the third reason. Chosen one. You saw what no one else dared to speak of. Have you ever wondered why you felt like an alien among your own kin? Like you were watching a play that everyone else seemed content to act in while you sat stunned in the audience? In homes where silence was survival and secrets were the glue holding the fragile structure together, you noticed everything. You caught the forced smiles that didn't reach their eyes, the stiff hugs that felt more like polite obligations than expressions of love. You felt the sudden change in energy when certain people walked into the room, how the air thickened with tension, how laughter turned to cautious silence. You recognized the way love was used as a currency, doled out only when you behaved according to their script, and withdrawn when you dared to be real. Even as a child, you couldn't unsee it, the hypocrisy that hovered above every dinner conversation, the subtle manipulations disguised as concern, the invisible power dynamics that everyone else ignored. Perhaps they called you dramatic, too sensitive, suspicious, or too much. But let me ask you, were you really too much? Or were they simply too invested in maintaining a comfortable illusion to handle your piercing clarity? Carl Jung taught that some souls are born as seers, intuitive perceivers of the collective and individual unconscious. You didn't come to this family to blend in seamlessly like wallpaper. You came to illuminate the hidden, to breathe life into what had been long buried. Have you noticed that in toxic families, truth is not just avoided, it is actively feared? Because truth threatens the delicate house of cards that denial has meticulously constructed over generations. When you spoke up and named what no one else dared, to the favoritism, the manipulation, the emotional blackmail, you became the threat, not because you were wrong, but precisely because you were right. Your gift of perception was never a defect, it was divine. It was your refusal to remain an actor in their carefully directed play. You weren't born to deliver scripted lines and collect applause for your compliance. You were born to step off the stage altogether and reveal the theater for what it truly was. Look at whistleblowers like Edward Snowden. His clarity and refusal to stay silent about what he saw cost him comfort and safety. But it forced the world to confront uncomfortable truths. Like Snowden, your clarity has always been your calling, not your curse. John 3:20-21 reminds us, "Everyone who does evil hates the light, and will not come into the light for fear that their deeds will be exposed. But whoever lives by the truth comes into the light." You were always meant to be that light, even when it made you the family's villain. Think about Princess Diana. She saw the dysfunction in her royal environment and had the courage to name it publicly, refusing to keep up the illusion of a perfect fairy tale. Though criticized and shamed, her vulnerability and truth-telling cracked open a centuries-old institution, creating space for future change. Like Diana, you carry a sacred responsibility to expose what is hidden, even when the price is loneliness. Your role was never to fix the family system or win their approval. Jung would say, you are called to individuate beyond it, to evolve into someone they could never imagine becoming, to embody truths they could never bear to face. In doing so, you become a living mirror, a mirror that reflects all the unspoken shame, the generational pain, the emotional avoidance they hoped to hide forever. It is not a comfortable role, and few will thank you for it. Most won't understand it at all. But chosen one, have you ever asked yourself if your soul came here not for comfort, but to become a divine catalyst? Psalm 27:1 says, "The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life, of whom shall I be afraid?" This is the spiritual armor that covers you as you walk boldly in your gift of perception. Your ability to see the hidden is not a burden, it is a divine assignment. Consider Brené Brown. Her entire life's work revolves around naming the things that make people uncomfortable: shame, vulnerability, fear. She transformed what many considered weaknesses into powerful bridges of connection and healing. Like Brené, your ability to name what others run from is precisely what will set generations free. You may have been exiled, labeled the black sheep, or called the problem child. But what if your so-called exile was really your liberation? What if stepping away from their illusions was your first step towards stepping into your highest self? Have you ever wondered why, even when they pushed you away, a part of you felt a strange sense of relief? Because your soul always knew that leaving the stage was your true path to freedom. In these moments of exile, you began to learn that your clarity is not a curse, but a compass. It guides you away from people-pleasing and into soul-pleasing. It moves you from survival mode into spiritual sovereignty. And though the cost is high, the loneliness, the misunderstandings, the smear campaigns, the reward is immeasurable. You gain yourself. Isaiah 60:1 declares, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." Your light was never meant to be dimmed to make others comfortable. You are not here to be digestible. You are here to be undeniable. Look at actor Elliot Page. His courage to live out his truth publicly, despite the world's gaze, shows us that living honestly is not about gaining universal approval. It's about gaining inner peace. Like Elliot, every time you choose to honor what you see, even if it costs you relationships, you anchor deeper into your purpose. When you became the one who said, "This isn't love, that isn't true," or "I refuse to play this game," you didn't destroy the family, you exposed the cracks that were always there. You became the spiritual earthquake shaking the foundation so that something real could finally be built. And while they may curse your name in the moment, in the quiet chambers of their hearts, your courage plants seeds that might one day bloom into their own awakening. Have you considered that your role was never about their acceptance, but about your ascension? What if your pain in being misunderstood is actually the price of admission into a life that is radically authentic, divinely aligned, and soulfully free? You did not come here to win applause. You came to ignite transformation. 1 Corinthians 2:15 reminds us, "The person with the Spirit makes judgments about all things, but such a person is not subject to merely human judgments." You were never meant to be judged by their limited understanding, because your sight comes from a higher realm. You are not too much. You are not broken. You are not the problem. You are the light in the room no one wanted turned on. You are the question they hoped no one would ask, the voice they hoped no one would find. And though this journey often feels lonely, remember, solitude is not absence, it is sacred space where you meet God face to face, where your soul refines itself into the diamond it was always meant to be. So, chosen one, what would it look like if you stopped apologizing for your clarity? What if you embraced your spiritual sight as the most precious gift you carry? Imagine the world you will build when you live as the unapologetic light bearer you came here to be. You are not here to keep the peace. You are here to make it real. You are not here to uphold illusions. You are here to dissolve them with love, so fierce it becomes a healing flame. The courage to see is a rare and holy inheritance. It is not a cross meant to crush you. It is a crown meant to anoint you. Wear it boldly. Speak with the authority heaven gave you. Walk in the truth your ancestors could not carry. Because you, chosen one, are the embodiment of every silent prayer your lineage ever whispered in the dark. And through your eyes, finally, they will see. And here is the final reason. Beloved chosen one, you were never a cosmic accident, a misplaced puzzle piece, or a soul who slipped through the cracks of some divine ledger. You were precisely placed, intentionally chosen, woven into your family line, like a hidden code waiting to be activated. Carl Jung once said, "The greatest influence on the child is the unlived life of the parent." Have you ever felt that unspoken heaviness? The subtle, suffocating weight of dreams deferred, passions buried, truths unspoken, all pressing against your spirit as if begging you to finish what they could not begin. Perhaps you've wondered if you were born into your family by mistake, as if God dropped you into the wrong movie set. Maybe you've felt like a foreign language in a room where everyone else speaks fluent denial. But what if, instead of being misplaced, you were exactly the one they were waiting for? Not to fix them, not to absorb their pain like an eternal sponge, not to become their unrequested savior, but to embody what healing looks like by simply being unapologetically you. Have you ever asked yourself what would happen if you stopped performing for love and started embodying love itself? Your soul's evolution isn't a selfish rebellion, it's a ripple that echoes through the entire lineage. When one person awakens, the roots tremble beneath the soil of the family tree. Some branches will resist and break. Others may blossom later, quietly inspired by the tremors you caused. Not everyone will follow. Not everyone will celebrate your emergence. But your courage will plant seeds, even in the most barren hearts. Look at Malala Yousafzai. Born into a community where girls were not encouraged to claim their power, she became an international symbol of courage and education. Malala didn't rebel for rebellion's sake. She embodied a new possibility, a living answer to generations of silenced voices. Like her, you didn't come to scream your difference. You came to embody it so fiercely that the entire energetic field around you begins to shift. Romans 19 reminds us, "For the creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed." You are that revelation. Chosen one. You are the living proof that healing is possible, that love is real, that transformation isn't just a poetic idea, but a living, breathing reality. You might feel like an outlier, like a single green shoot pushing through cracked, dry earth. But remember, that shoot signals a new season. You are not merely a product of your family's pain. You are the new root rewriting what was once considered unchangeable. Have you ever felt an ancestral echo whispering inside you, urging you to rise, to move differently, to love more deeply than any of them dared? That is your soul calling you into your divine assignment. When you choose to face your sacred wound, to walk the treacherous yet holy path of individuation and wholeness, you perform an act more revolutionary than any protest or argument could ever be. You do not break the cycle by wrestling it into submission, but by becoming a living example of transcendence. Your life becomes a silent sermon, louder than any words. A glowing invitation for others to consider that freedom might be possible for them too. Look at Maya Angelou, who carried within her the stories of ancestors denied voice and freedom. Through her poetry and presence, she not only healed her own wounds, but offered an entire generation a vocabulary for liberation. You, too, carry within you the unfinished stories of your ancestors, their uncried tears, their lost loves, their silent screams. And as you breathe more fully into your truth, those stories begin to shift. You are the living prayer they never dared to pray out loud. The yes they were too afraid to utter. John 14, Kaksitoista promises. Very truly I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing, and they will do even greater things than these. Greater things, can you fathom that? What if your life was never meant to be a continuation of the old story, but the writing of a brand new epic? What if, by embodying your truth, you are offering your ancestors and descendants a freedom they never imagined possible? Think of Nelson Mandela, who after years of imprisonment emerged not with vengeance, but with a vision for unity and healing. His life transformed a nation and redefined what was possible for future generations. In the same way, your silent acts of courage, your tears, your boundaries, your reclaiming of joy, these are acts of cosmic rebellion and ancestral healing. When you dare to see yourself beyond the limitations projected onto you, you invite your entire lineage into that possibility. You become a mirror reflecting what was once hidden, a beacon guiding others home to themselves, even if they don't consciously recognize it yet. Have you ever wondered why, despite all the resistance and misunderstanding, you continue to feel that sacred tug inside, urging you forward? Because your soul knows that your becoming is not just for you, it is for every grandmother who swallowed her voice, every grandfather who carried silent shame, every child who will one day look into your eyes and feel seen for the first time. Psalm 139, 14 declares, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. You are not a glitch in the matrix. You are the sacred plan unfolding, the divine strategy incarnate, the cosmic light returning home. So, chosen one, if you've ever doubted your place in the chaos, if you've ever felt too broken, too loud, too soft, too much, know this. You are not a mistake. You are the quiet revolution their hearts have been unconsciously yearning for. You are the echo of prayers whispered under moonlit skies, the embodied hope of generations longing to taste freedom, but too afraid to reach for it. Your presence is not merely tolerated by the universe, it is celebrated. Your journey home to yourself is not a solitary walk. It is a cosmic procession, accompanied by angels and ancestors alike. In every choice to honor your truth over tradition, to listen to your soul over your conditioning, you become a lighthouse in the storm. You are the living embodiment of the phrase, as within, so without. By transforming your inner world, you shift the outer world in ways unseen but deeply felt. Have you ever considered that your greatest act of love for your family is not to lose yourself trying to save them, but to save yourself, so they might find the courage to save themselves too? By simply becoming who you truly are, you liberate others to imagine what else might be possible. You plant seeds of awakening that will sprout in their time, according to their own divine schedule. You are the luminous thread weaving through your family's tapestry, connecting the broken, illuminating the dark, and revealing the beauty that was always hidden beneath layers of fear. You are the living testament that healing is not only possible but inevitable when one soul chooses to remember its divine origin. So if you've ever found yourself staring at the ceiling late at night, wondering if it's all worth it, every tear, every lonely moment, every misunderstood word, remember this. You are the hope of your lineage. You are the future unfolding in real time. And in your becoming, you don't just heal yourself, you heal the entire river of souls that flow through you and beyond you. Your journey, chosen one, is their inheritance. And that, above all, is the gift. Have you ever paused to truly absorb the gravity of that? Every moment, you choose to heal rather than hide. Every time you dare to speak instead of silencing yourself. Every breath you take in full awareness, all of it is a living offering to those who came before you and those who will come after. You may think you're simply trying to survive or find peace, but in truth, you are weaving a new legacy strand by strand, breath by breath. Take a deep breath now. Really feel it expand through your ribs, your chest, your spirit. Feel your feet anchored into the sacred soil beneath you, that same earth that has held the footsteps of your ancestors, the same ground that will hold the dreams of your descendants. Now, place your hand gently over your heart. Can you feel it pulsing, whispering ancient songs that have been echoing through your lineage for centuries? Whisper these words to yourself, softly but with power. I was not born into love to become lost. I was born into pain to become conscious. Have you ever asked yourself what patterns you are here to break? Maybe it's the pattern of self-abandonment, of shrinking yourself to make others comfortable, of performing for affection instead of standing in your authentic power. Or maybe it's the silent pattern of enduring cycles of shame and secrecy. When you name these patterns, you don't just see them, you begin to free yourself and those still trapped inside them. What has your wound taught you to see? Could it be that it opened your eyes to the subtleties of human emotion, the invisible threads that connect us all? Your wound is not merely a place of suffering, it's a sacred teacher that has been forging your soul into a vessel capable of holding and transmitting divine light. Imagine if you reframed your pain as your portal to purpose. What truth do you still fear naming? Is there something inside of you, a hidden knowing or a quiet truth that you've kept locked away out of fear of being misunderstood, rejected, or exiled? Have you ever wondered what liberation might feel like if you finally named it, if you finally allowed your soul to roar in its full power? Proverbs 12:19 tells us, "Truthful lips endure forever, but a lying tongue lasts only a moment." Your truth is eternal. It is your divine inheritance. Your healing is not a selfish act. It is the holiest revolution. It is an act of cosmic generosity that reverberates through time and space, creating ripples that heal wounds you may never see and bless people you may never meet. Think of Rosa Parks. Her single act of defiance was not for herself alone. It cracked open a collective wound and set in motion waves of healing and liberation. Similarly, your personal healing may appear quiet, but its impact is thunderous across generations. Salm 126, 5 declares, "Those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy." Every tear you've shed in private is a seed of liberation planted for future generations to harvest as joy and freedom. Can you see now how sacred your path truly is? This is how the chosen ones rise, not with loud declarations or public crowns, but in the unseen. Sacred choices made daily to love instead of numb, to stay instead of flee, to forgive instead of revenge, to speak instead of remain silent. You rise not by stepping onto a pedestal, but by sinking deeper into your soul's authentic ground. You rise in every quiet moment. You choose your truth over tradition, your soul over your conditioning, your freedom over your fear. Consider the story of actor and activist Viola Davis. She has often spoken about rising from poverty and family trauma, breaking generational curses through her unwavering commitment to healing and truth-telling. She didn't just survive her wounds, she transformed them into a force that inspires millions. You, too, are called to that alchemy to transform your private pain into public light. John Cardickson, Kolme kymmentä kuusi promises. So if the sun sets you free, you will be free indeed. Your freedom is not only your birthright, it is your divine assignment. Each step you take toward your healing is a step toward collective liberation. A step that sends vibrations into the roots of your family tree and beyond. Take another breath now. Deeper and slower. Can you feel the ancestors gathering around you? Not to judge, but to celebrate. They see in you what they once dreamed of but could not achieve. They see in your courage the chance for their unfinished stories to finally find a sacred ending. You are not alone on this path. You are accompanied by a chorus of unseen witnesses, all rooting for your rise. So, chosen one, ask yourself again, what would it look like to walk every day as if your healing is the most important work on earth? What choices would you make differently? What conversations would you have? And which would you release? What parts of yourself would you finally invite to the table to be seen and loved in their full Rav beauty? Your journey is not just about you. It is a living, breathing, expanding inheritance. It is a sacred trust you hold, not only for yourself, but for every soul connected to you through blood, spirit, and future. In choosing to heal, you become the ancestor your descendants will thank, the lighthouse that stands unwavering in the storm, the sacred pulse that keeps the heart of your lineage alive and vibrant. If you were born into a toxic family, beloved, chosen one, hear me clearly. You were not cursed. You were chosen. Let those words sink into your bones and echo throughout the chambers of your heart. You were chosen to see what others could not bear to look at. Chosen to feel emotions so deeply that they often scorched your spirit. Chosen to change the story, not to be another silent chapter in a worn-out narrative of pain and denial. Have you ever asked yourself why you couldn't simply conform? Why you always seemed to rub against the grain? Why you felt like a misfit at the very table where you were supposed to feel safest? Perhaps you spent years wondering if you were fundamentally flawed, questioning why you felt like an outsider in your own bloodline. But what if your discomfort was not evidence of your inadequacy, but proof of your sacred assignment? Carl Jung taught that the soul arranges its life to find the fracture that becomes the doorway. Let that revelation unfold inside you. Your soul didn't choose comfort or ease. It chose the path that would crack open the hardened layers of illusion and lead you directly into the luminous center of your being. You are not broken. You are becoming. There is a vast difference between a soul that is shattered and a soul that is being sculpted. Can you feel that difference rising within you now? Look at the life of Leonardo da Vinci. Born illegitimate, pushed to the fringes of society, he turned his outsider status into a superpower, allowing him to see connections, patterns, and possibilities others missed entirely, like Leonardo. You were never meant to blend in. You were designed to see beyond the edges, to imagine new worlds, to crack open stagnant systems with your sheer presence. Psalm 118:22 reminds us, "The stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone." You are that stone. Your rejection was never a sign of your lack. It was a divine indication that you were meant to build something entirely new. Perhaps your family taught you that love was conditional, that you had to earn your worth through silence, obedience, or shrinking into roles too small for your expansive soul. But your spirit never fully bought into those terms, did it? Deep down, even in your quietest moments of despair, something inside you whispered, "There must be more than this." That whisper was the voice of yourself, your divine blueprint, calling you home. Consider the story of Trevor Noah. Born under apartheid as the child of a black mother and a white father, an existence literally considered a crime, he carried within him the fracture of a divided society. Yet, through humor, courage, and radical authenticity, he transformed that fracture into a global platform for connection and healing. What if, like Trevor, the very places where you feel most vulnerable are the exact places you are meant to offer the world your greatest gifts? John 16:33 offers us this comfort. "In this world, you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world." Your struggles are not the end of your story. They are the necessary terrain that shapes the hero's journey. Have you ever considered that your repeated heartbreaks, your lonely nights, your endless questions were all sacred chisels, carving you into the masterpiece you are becoming? Many people in your family may never understand your path. They may label your sensitivity as weakness, your clarity as defiance, your dreams as foolishness. But remember this: their inability to see you is not a reflection of your invisibility. It is a mirror of their blindness. You were never meant to be seen fully by those who refuse to open their eyes. Your validation comes not from their approval, but from the deep, knowing that you are living in alignment with your soul's design. Think of Oprah Winfrey, born into poverty and surrounded by early trauma. She was told she was unworthy in countless ways. Yet she listened to the quiet, persistent voice inside her that said otherwise. She didn't just change her life, she transformed the lives of millions, like Oprah. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to embody truth so powerfully that your very existence becomes a sermon of liberation. Isaías 43:1 declares, "Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have summoned you by name. You are mine. You belong to something higher, something deeper, something eternal. Your family system may have been the vessel that carried you into this world, but it does not define the totality of who you are. You are not merely a product of your environment. You are a divine spark wrapped in human skin, sent here to illuminate the shadows your family could never face. Your journey is not about fixing them or earning their love. Your journey is about becoming so wholly and fully yourself that you break every unspoken contract of silence and shame. You become a living invitation for others to wake up, even if they never accept it. Have you ever thought about the possibility that your transformation is the most loving thing you could ever offer them, even if they can't receive it? Maya Angelou once said, "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you." What untold stories are you still carrying? Chosen one, what truths are lodged in your throat, aching to be spoken? What love still trembles in your heart, waiting to be expressed without condition or expectation? You are not here to live a life half-lived. You are here to birth your soul's full expression, no matter who understands or approves. Romans 12 encourages. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You were born to be a nonconformist in the most sacred sense, not as an act of rebellion against your family, but as an act of devotion to your soul. Your path may be lonely at times, but it is also luminous. It is a road less traveled, precisely because it leads to places most people are too afraid to go, the inner sanctum of the true self. Think of Frida Kahlo, whose life was marked by intense physical pain and emotional turmoil. She painted her wounds into masterpieces that transcended time and culture. Her suffering did not define her. It refined her into an icon of unapologetic authenticity. Like Frida, your pain is not a dead-end street. It is the doorway into realms of beauty and truth that only you can access. Your soul did not choose the easy path because ease does not forge depth. Your soul chose the path of friction, the path of challenge, the path of fire, because it is through fire that gold is purified. You are being sculpted into someone who cannot be shaken by external storms because your foundation is rooted in divine truth. Have you noticed that as you heal, the landscape of your life changes? People who once felt essential begin to fade. New connections, aligned with your authentic frequency, begin to appear. Your external world rearranges itself to match your internal evolution. This is not coincidence, it is spiritual law in motion. You are not just healing your story, you are altering the storylines of everyone connected to you. John 15:16 proclaims, "You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit, fruit that will last." Your life is meant to bear fruit that nourishes not only your spirit, but also the spirits of those who will come long after you are gone. Every act of self-love, every moment of clarity, every boundary you uphold is a seed planted in the sacred soil of the future. So, chosen one, Ask yourself now, what would it look like to live as if you were chosen? Not cursed? What if you believed, down to the marrow of your bones, that your life is not an accident but a divine appointment? What if you began to embody your truth so fearlessly that even your ancestors lean forward in wonder? Breathe into that vision. See yourself standing tall, eyes clear, heart open, radiating a frequency so high that lower vibrations naturally fall away. Imagine the ripple effect. Your courage liberates not just you, but also inspires others to question their own chains. You are not simply breaking cycles, you are creating new blueprints for love, for authenticity, for divine possibility. In the quiet moments, when the old voices rise up to tell you that you are too much or not enough, remember, they are echoes of an outdated script that ends with you. Your journey is not about convincing them of your worth. It is about embodying your worth so fully that your life becomes undeniable evidence of grace in motion. The self understands, even when the family does not. The self celebrates every tear you transform into wisdom, every scar you turn into a star. The self sees the entire tapestry, not just the torn threads. And as you continue to walk this sacred path, know that you are held, guided, and fiercely loved by forces far greater than any human misunderstanding. Beloved chosen one, as we stand at the end of this soul-stirring journey together, let these words settle into the deepest part of your spirit. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not abandoned. You are chosen. In every tear you have shed, in every silent prayer whispered into your pillow at night, in every moment you felt unseen and unheard, a divine seed was being planted. A sacred transformation was taking root. You were never meant to simply survive your family story. You were meant to transcend it, to transmute it, to rise from it like a phoenix reborn in divine fire. Have you ever paused to imagine what would happen if you started to live as though you were chosen in every cell of your being? What doors might open if you believed, truly believed, that every wound was a hidden portal to wisdom, every rejection a redirection toward your highest calling? What if your entire lineage has been waiting for you? Yes, you to be the one who says, "This ends with me." You are not here to fit into the mold your family tried to shape you into. You are here to shatter it and sculpt something new, something true, something divinely yours. Look back at every moment you felt too much or not enough. Can you see now that these were never judgments on your worth, but reflections of the limitations of those around you? You were always more than their expectations could hold. You are the sacred storm they never saw coming, the gentle rain they didn't know they needed, the steady sunrise that refuses to stay hidden. In your becoming, you are not only rewriting your own story, but offering redemption to every silent voice that came before you, and every echo that will follow after. You are the ancestor someone in the future will thank for choosing truth over comfort, love over fear, authenticity over approval. Psalm 37:23, -24 says, "The Lord makes firm the steps of the one who delights in him. Though he may stumble, he will not fall. For the Lord upholds him with his hand, even in your stumbles, even in your darkest nights. You have been held, you have been guided, shaped, and fortified for a mission that transcends you. And now, as you move forward, know that each brave step is a light to someone else still wandering in the dark. As you take this message into your spirit, I want to take a moment to thank you truly and deeply for walking this path alongside me today. Your presence here is not an accident. It is evidence of your readiness to step into your divine inheritance. Thank you for your time, your open heart, your courage to feel these words fully. If this message has touched you, inspired you, or sparked something sacred within you, I invite you to consider supporting this ministry and this message through a super thanks donation, whether you choose to give or not. Please know from the depths of my heart that I am profoundly grateful for you. Your support helps this work reach more souls who need it. But your presence alone is already a priceless gift, and I ask you now, if you feel led, to leave a comment below. Share what resonated with you. Type, "I am chosen," as your public declaration to the universe, as a bold spiritual contract, sealing your commitment to your path of truth and freedom. Your words may become the lifeline someone else needs to read today, beloved. May blessings overflow in your life in ways you cannot yet imagine. May you feel God's fierce love holding you every morning you rise and every night you lay down. May your ancestors dance in the unseen realms as they watch you heal what they could not. May you become the walking prayer, the living sanctuary, the radiant light that cannot be ignored. As you wear your truth like armor and carry your heart like a torch, remember, you were not cursed, you were called. You were not left behind, you were set apart. And through your courageous, unwavering becoming, you fulfill a promise older than time, a sacred vow woven into your soul before your first breath. So step forward now, chosen one. Stand taller, breathe deeper, speak louder, love harder. You are the miracle your bloodline has been waiting for. You are the proof that healing is not only possible, but inevitable when one brave soul dares to rise. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. I bless you with infinite love, protection, and divine favor on every step of your journey. Until we meet again, remember, you are not broken. You are becoming. You are not abandoned. You are chosen. And your light, you're unstoppable. Fierce, God-given light is just getting started.